So how does this transition to the mold business? Let's hear how we pivot.
All right. So this is kind of funny. So I remember this day so well, Devin. So Devin and I we had one property down in the South Shore neighborhood. And we kind of liked it. And we were thinking about another property down the block, couple of houses down. So we're thinking about buying that property. So we go and we're investigating the property, and we see that there's a pretty decent sized mold issue there. And Devin and I knew nothing about mold. And, 4-letter word, mold is very scary. Most people are, not comfortable dealing with mold. And we were the same way. So we basically called in a mold guy. And this guy comes. I'll never forget this. He comes. He rolls up. He had a nice car. I think it was like a luxury car. I think it was a Lexus, but it was like a nice Lexus. He had like a vanity license plate and stuff. And he rolls up and he comes in and we hired him to do like a mold inspection, mold investigation. And he comes in and he was literally there for, it had to have been like no more than 15 minutes. I want to say closer to 10 minutes. And he's like, "Yeah, you guys got mold here. Yeah, that'll be $400, and we were just kind of in shock and at how quickly he diagnosed the issue and how quickly he charged us. And I remember thinking, see, I didn't have a side job at the time, really. I was waiting tables and I was like, oh man, I need to get into this business. This is a nice little business because, I knew I could do better than him. I knew if that's the competition, I could do better than that guy because I don't know, I felt kind of ripped off, and I just was like, it was a bad experience. And I could do better than this guy. So that's essentially how we got into it. I ended up doing it as a side gig. We were doing our real estate investment as our main business, but Devin had a side job working in IT, and then I started doing the mold as a side gig, and pretty quickly it grew into a legit small business. I started getting calls, and I was doing these mold inspections, and people liked the way I was doing things, and then and I was just going to do inspections. Then they said, well, hey, this inspection is great, but can you help me fix the problem? And I was like, yeah, I guess so, And so then I started scrubbing the mold and really it just, I don't know, it was a really classic story of like business growing little by little and eventually needing help and hiring helpers. And then Devin came on board and because the business was growing and I needed help. And yeah, that's kind of how we got started was directly related to property management because we knew these property managers and property owners and investors needed a better provider than what was out there.
So that's awesome. So one more thing I want to hit on is how did you get yourself up to speed, right? This was a subject you didn't know anything about. What did you do to say, you know what, I will know enough where I can be trusted to give an inspection and, get referral business out of it because I'm doing a good enough job?
Yeah. So they, different states have different rules about getting licensed and certified. So Illinois actually is one of the less strict states. You really just need to get certified, and getting certified wasn't that hard. I took an online course for several weeks. I took some all day or all weekend classes or, week-long in-person classes. So it didn't take too long. Like it wasn't years, it was probably a matter of 3-4 months or something before I got the certifications I needed. But more valuable than that was just kind of the having the experience from my time being in the property investment business was just kind of having seen these different scenarios where mold is common and just having learned how to like navigate through them without breaking the bank, So I think I brought a lot of that knowledge to the customers, and I think they just kind of liked that I, had the like technical knowledge, but also the practical knowledge as well. I think that's how it kind of went.